Because one of the important things to keep in mind is that building wealth is not something that many of us, were taught or were encouraged because money was something, bad or not something that our parents or somebody in our family were able to teach us. But there's so many ways that we need to think that in terms of how do we build wealth, not only for ourselves, but generational wealth for our families and for those that are behind us, that are coming behind us. Magda, I can see you there, but I can't see you. So let us see uh, how we can help you here. Um, are we there? No. Can you hear us, Magda?
I can hear you.
Okay. And we just can see you, but sort of see you.
Oh,
And
gosh.
I know that we're waiting on our next panelist, but as she joins while we troubleshoot here, this is what happens when we go on things live. But
Yes.
I want to start with presenting Magda Esola. This is going to be a panel. This is a panel that is very exciting to me because building wealth is, like I said, not something that many of us grew up with or know about. So Magda Esola is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Brookline Homes, an award-winning real estate leader, and an advocate for Latina representation in business. And Magda, you have a wealth of knowledge that not only you gained throughout your career, but also that you love to share with others so that they can in turn be powerful, and especially Latinas, be powerful and grow things on their own, and be able to make a meaningful impact that is going to outstand for generations to come and leave that legacy. There we go. Um, so Magda, there are many avenues to building generational wealth. And this is not a concept that many of us understand, but you've built it through real estate and many other things. But I'll always love to hear your story on how did you get into that industry and how did you make it happen? And especially what helped like shift your mindset?
Thank you so much, Liliana, and congratulations to all those 50 over 50 and this beautiful presentation that we had before. So, yes. So, what happened? We came to the USA when I was 18 years old and came after that American dream. And one of the things, I guess it was my mom who helped me shift the the idea around the money. So when we were here in the USA, we have been here about 3 years. We saved six siblings and my mother, seven people. We saved enough money to buy our first home. So that's what I call house hack. And seven of us from Nicaragua, at the time, undocumented, we saved $30,000, making $2 to $3 an hour to buy our first home for $160,000 in Hackensack, New Jersey. And through that home, I always say, you can, for me, has been real estate, right? Um, so we purchased this home, and 3 years down the road, we end up selling it for $500,000. We live in that home, a 4-bedroom home, seven of us. And 3 years later, we sold it for $500,000, and the profits, each one of us end up buying our own home. So it started there. And then I got into real estate. I about 24 years ago, back in New Jersey, that I knew that I was going to help people, but I also wanted my financial freedom. So yes, I love helping people, but I also like to help Magda. As the previous panelist said, you have to creértela and that you deserve it. And that's how I enter in the kind of the mindset about money. Because Latinos, I believe, sometimes we believe that money is bad, and that's why we don't achieve what we're supposed to achieve. So yes.
Thank you, Magda. And your story is amazing. If any, I recommend everybody to connect with Magda because not only she has a wealth of knowledge through her journey, but she's willing to share it all. And that's just spectacular. Laura, thank you so much for
Hi.
joining us. Laura Lucas is the general partner at Latitude Ventures and founder of Libra Leaders, empowering entrepreneurs and women through access to capital and financial confidence. Thank you so much. And what is your entry point? Like, how did you get into investing and being a part, one of the only general partners, very small group of general partners in the space, and being able to get into the investing world, which is not something that many of us know how to do.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I am so honored to be here with all of you and this organization. So my start into this space really happened after college. After college, I actually wanted to be a lawyer. But as life shows you, sometimes that path doesn't work out. And I ended up taking an entry-level position at a Wall Street firm. And I was literally opening new accounts at this firm. And what was incredible to me to see was the millions of dollars that were being transferred from one individual to another. And it is something I had never seen in my life because I'm originally from Guadalajara, Mexico. My family is the type of family that just puts their savings in their mattress. And hopefully we pray for the best. So when I saw that there's this institution known as the capital markets driving capital from one person to another person or one institution to another person, I knew that I had to know more about what was happening here. So I took that entry level position. I got all my licenses. I ended up trading for this firm. So I worked my way up, went to one firm to another, ended up working in Wall Street for over 10 years, left Wall Street, started my own startup in the fashion business, had a company called Ladada, and I sold it to Stitch Fix, which is a publicly traded company now on the Nasdaq. That journey was incredible because I realized again that I was one of the only women Latinas in Silicon Valley raising capital, and there were no other women in that space on the other side. But I was able to raise, I got out at my Series A. I sold the company, like I said, to Stitch Fix, which then became a publicly traded company at NASDAQ. And as life would have it, I got hired at NASDAQ to watch the IPO happen of Stitch Fix. So I mean, it was like a serendipitous moment to see that the company that I sold to was actually going IPO. After that, you know, in my journey in the financial markets, I said I have all this knowledge about being on Wall Street, being an entrepreneur, and seeing the highest capital um, in the country happen at the NASDAQ. And so I wanted to make a difference. And that's when I joined Latitude Ventures as a partner with Sol Trujillo and Gary Costa and Oscar Munoz. And we raised 100 million and have invested in 38 companies that are growing, scaling, and hopefully we'll see a lot of those companies go public on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. We only invest in US Latino and Latina founders, and that is because those are the communities that have the most growth currently today in the United States and are the ones that are creating and innovating the future of tomorrow.
I love that. And you're both, thank you so much for sharing those stories because it shows the possibility, right? It shows that yes, we can. It doesn't matter where you are in the echelons of wealth, right? You can have $50 literally in your pocket or not, and there's still the possibility for growth. And you're both in industries that are exploding right now, both investing in real estate, but they're also intimidating ones, especially for Latinas and for underrepresented groups, because we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. We feel that we don't belong, that it's not a space for us. So I want to go back to you, Magda, because access to capital is often that first barrier for Latinas to be able to get in. I only have this, I only have enough to be able to make ends meet. But you have a lot of strategies and programs that Latinas should know on how do they enter the real estate market and be able to be a part of it in a big way.
Yes, that's a great question, Ileana. The key is truly knowledge, is education, is knowing your options. There is a lot of help for buyers, governmental loans. There is also assistance programs. Right now, we have a community here in Huntersville, North Carolina, that buyers can get $20,000 grant that you don't have to repay back. And there are governmental programs that people are not very well aware of those programs. So the first thing that I will tell people is like, take the first step is like knowing that you want to invest and start with one property, because that one property will buy you several other properties. Yesterday, I was speaking with Oralia Herrera, who is the national president for NAREP, and she told me about her buyer 35 years ago. It started with one property. She was 23 years old, and this lady is in her early 50s today. 8 buildings she owns. She's a multi-millionaire, and she started with one property. So my recommendation is truly start with one property, get and hire knowledgeable people. You need to hire a real estate agent to represent you if you don't know much. Get mentors. I am accessible, as you say, Ileana. You can reach me through LinkedIn, and I'll give you all the information. I don't charge. I help my Latinas. I want everyone to be successful because I am the mentor that I wish I had. So I try to help as many people as I can. So get a mentor, hire a real estate agent. Don't be afraid. Remember, afraid money or scared money don't make money. Don't be afraid. And and try to bring somebody else with you. Once you get the ball rolling and you get your first investment and you learn, try to teach it too. Try to bring somebody else with you.
I love those, and you're right. Like we don't start because we're afraid. The fear of I don't know how, and reaching to others, and that's what this community is about, right? To be able to have access to other Latinas that are willing to share the knowledge and to share the resources, the connections, the network. That's why connecting with others becomes so critically important. Thank you so much for Magda for sharing that, and I know that many people will connect with you. Laura, investing has a similar problem, right? We don't invest in big things. It's almost like maybe we have a savings account in the bank. That's like woo, that's as much as we can aspire to. But it's we're losing money from not investing, right? We're not using our money to be able to make money for us, and that's something that I recently learned. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that you need your money to make money for you. So how would you, and there's many recent changes as well that are happening that we don't know of, that we could take advantage of in order to help us grow those investments, and have more accessible opportunities that maybe in the past there haven't been. Any strategies that you can share in terms of for our audience so that they can begin navigating in the investing space?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I want to share is that investing is very personal, and as Magda, stated very pointedly, there's a lot of different asset classes that people can participate in. There's, real estate asset class, there's equities, and there's the private markets, public markets, or even just understanding, if you wanted to invest in putting things away in a CD or a money market. So or even just contributing to your 401k. But I think you have to start there. I always get this question of like, where do I start? How do I start to understand? I think it really starts with understanding what your personal financial situation is, and then trying to have people meet you there. And what I mean by that, because understanding, where you are in your financial journey is different if you're 25, 30, 40, or even older, because that'll determine risk, it'll determine how aggressive, where you want to be, and how you diversify. And so I think it's important to kind of take a look at, hey, what do I have today? Do I have a lot of debt? Do I have, different things that I'm struggling with? And where do I want to be? There's a lot of different financial advisors out there that can help you, but one of the great things that we have today that we didn't have, or when I was young, is the internet and the internet and chat GPT. Now, I don't recommend like obviously taking everything that you find on here on the internet as a guide, but what I would start to really understand is um, the public markets. Like I said, when I took this job early in life in Wall Street, it was really eye-opening to me because it was a place where I could easily understand a company, its profile, and what it meant to invest in that company. And this wasn't like, thousands of dollars. This was like $500. You can pick up equities for a small amount of money and then just see how that relates to the performance. Like the S&P is a great place to start, right? The S&P, as you've seen, has grown tremendously over the last 10 years, or even what they call the FANG. The FANG stands for Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, which are, billion-dollar companies that you could probably participate in the public markets. I always say that the reason why we have the strongest economy aside from Latinas is because we have the strength of the capital markets and the US stock market, and that is critical. So really looking at companies that are interesting and learning more about how to participate there. I would just start there and, make small investments. But again, it always matters where you are in your financial journey, and understanding what kind of risk you want to take. And then, of course, I'm part of a fund that invests in not only Latinos, but women that have incredible companies. And now there's new regulation on how people can participate in investing in the private markets. There's been some changes made to 401k regulation. There's been some changes made on what it means to be an accredited investor. So there's a lot of opportunity. And like I've told Ileana and many here at United Latinas, I'm here as a resource to you, so please feel free to reach out. I've had some of you reach out to me. I think knowledge is power, and I only want to share what I know about investing. But that's a small clip of what I think can help.
I love, oh, there we go. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing such powerful just tips and tricks. And I know that sometimes we can't share many things here because this is being recorded. But I know that both of you are accessible to all of our members. And these are conversations that need to be had. These are the spaces where we can say, I literally have no idea what you just said. Can you say it again in layman's terms and not feel bad that we don't have the language? Because that's the first thing. And I know that I've gone through that even myself. Like, I don't ask the questions because I don't even know what questions to ask. And then we feel like, oh my God, people are going to see that I don't know and I'm going to feel ignorant. And it goes back to the perfectionism that we were talking earlier. And that's stopping us. So make sure that you connect with these resources that are available in the chat. We also have many other members that are in both of these spaces, that are always willing to share. So reach out to everybody, because we, if not, you're losing on important things, not only for yourself but also for your family after. Now, building wealth isn't just about personal gain. And I think that's the first thing, one of the first barriers that happen. It's like, oh, but I don't want to be wealthy because people feel that wealth is bad, it's bad, or I'm going to have personal gain and I want to value the community that I am. But in a way, it is about circulating money within our community so that not only we rise, but everybody else rises, right? So do you have any tips, any advice? And I would love to start with you, Magda, in terms of how do we invest each other with each other? We heard, Anna, about the power of our purse so that we can multiply our wealth and our collective wealth.
Absolutely. I think the first thing that we need to do is take care of each other. Las hermanas, we got to take care of each other. We have to hire Latino professionals a lot. We have to help each other. I sit at the National Board of Directors for NAREP, and I was in my first meeting back in February in Las Vegas, and Gary Acosta said, be really, really good at what you do. He also said, do business among each other. Let's Latinos helping Latinos. And when you succeed, you bring somebody with you. So we got to keep that in mind, that success is really not what you do, it's what you do for others. We also have something that is called the NAREP 10, which I would be more than happy if you connect with me via LinkedIn to share with you. And these are like 10 commandments that we have. And number one is have a mature understanding of wealth and prosperity. Number two is be in the top 10% of your profession. For me, is be in the 1%. So I am the only Latina in North Carolina in the position that I am at work. I am in a new construction world where 98% is male, white dominated. But when you walk into those rooms, you need to walk like you belong. You got to believe in you. If nobody else believes in you, you got to believe in yourself. And talking about that circulation of wealth, you have to understand that every dollar that we invest in Latino owned business multiply. We got to be generous not only with our finances, but we got to be generous also with our knowledge and our heart and our minds and our smile. We got to be generous. I think abundance, that mindset of abundance that has been spoken before, it gets you and opens so many doors. And we just have to come from that place of giving. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to Malawi. I'm going to be building a school. 3 weeks, I'm going to be in Africa. And so I want you guys, if I leave you with this, have a generous heart. Because when you do have a generous heart, thousands and thousands of things come back to you. And I am here for you. Anything that you may need, I am always saying, I'll do it. I'll help you, because that's what fills my heart. And I call that emotional paychecks.
Thank you so much, Magda. Laura, we're coming to the end of our panel. Close us up.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. Magda said it all. She's so amazing in what she brought to the table. I agree with everything she said. We have to continue to invest in each other, make sure that we share opportunities, make sure that we're supportive. If you see a Latina business on LinkedIn, share it, like it, support it. If you see anything that you can share with others, I think that that's the power of our collective dollar, and we are making a difference. I mean, you've seen that the impact that we've had on Target for not going there. I mean, it's going back to Target. Remember the Target days? Yes, we need to bring it back to Target. So we need to make sure that we do things like that, because the power is in where we put our money. So I couldn't have said it better than Magda. I think that is what we need to continue to do to support each other.
I love that. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here with us first, for sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom, and everything that you do to elevate Latinas, so that we can all have, go into these spaces where the percentage is very, very small, but it's so, so needed. So thank you so much to both of you, and make sure that you connect, our audience connects with both Laura and with Magda. Thank you.